Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, then turn that notification button on right now.
Wrestling seems like a profession where the wrestlers are sometimes expected to be sculpted Greek god figures. This is not always the case, however, and sometimes wrestlers who don't look the part are able to rise to the top. This list will cover 10 successful wrestlers who were out of shape at some point in time in their career. Any fan who watched wrestling in the 90s probably knows about Scott Hall, who was also known as Razor Ramon back then as he rose to prominence in WWE. Being one of their top wrestlers at the time, Scott was one of the best talents in WWE because of his ability to get the audience on his side despite being a heel. He was with the company before the Attitude Era began, and he was one of the main event stars that fans could really relate to due to his realistic character. Unfortunately for him, his personal life was far from equally successful. Hall had a debilitating drug habit, and from this would stem a number of health issues that he would suffer from in the future. His substance abuse continued to be a huge factor in his life, and the former fit bad guy would gain enormous weight after he retired from wrestling. Things were not looking good for him overall, and fans had discounted his chances of living too many years, and many had started predicting his death. Thankfully, Diamond Dallas Page invited Hall into his home to remake his life, and thankfully they did. Now considerably healthier than before, it looks like Hall will live the rest of his life free from his personal demons thanks to the efforts of DDP. A stalwart figure in wrestling in the late 80s and 90s, Jake the Snake Roberts was one of the many stars to innovate and pioneer wrestling to what we know it as today. His in-ring style was different from anyone else's, and the fact that he brought Damien the Python into the ring with him only added to his mystique as a wrestler. He gained a lot of weight and had a bad time altogether after years of drug and alcohol abuse took their toll. His body was a broken remnant of what it had been, and it looked like he was heading towards a sad end. He approached DDP and took his help, and fortunately for him, DDP and his innovative yoga techniques helped him to be free of his personal demons. No one who knows Jinder Mahal today would ever admit to the possibility, but there was a time when the modern day Maharaja did not look like a sculpture of a Greek god. During his first run with WWE as the kayfabe brother-in-law to the great Khali, he was part of a number of matches with Khali before he ended up as part of the three-man band. During this time he was thin and hardly had any muscles to what he has now, and it looked like it was going to be towards the end of his decidedly chubby run. In a later interview, Jinder confessed that he had let himself go during this time and that he was not fit at all, as he was not in a good place mentally. This would go on for a year before he decided to change his life and work on his fitness, becoming the marvel that he is today. A current WWE star who cannot be called fit is Kevin Owens. Never having been a wrestler for whom the focus was his body, Kevin is anything but slow in the ring. He has been made the butt of a number of jokes in WWE by the fans for his chubby appearance, but has never let that stop him. He is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and the fact that he is in the main event scene in a company like WWE where your body is everything goes to prove that. He has made a life out of proving the doubters wrong and will likely continue to do so. For a long time, The Undertaker had ruled WWE from his dark throne, looking down on the mortals that he faced. Calling him a legend would be insulting to him, as he is much more than that, and the persona that he created is almost mythical looking back on it. He is possibly the most successful wrestler, and at that, the most feared wrestler in WWE history. However, in real life, The Undertaker is just as human as he proved on 2 occasions. During his run as the American Badass, we saw him return to the ring out of shape. He would gain back his original level of fitness, but not before fans saw his overweight stature. His return to the Deadman persona and later stages of American Badass form saw his level of fitness return, but recently age has caught up to the Deadman. In recent years, The Undertaker has looked in pain during his run in the ring, be it from his bad hip or his tired old body. The fact that he still wrestled at age 51 was a huge deal, but it looks like he may come back for one final match at WrestleMania. The soul of his character may be unwearied, but his body is certainly not. He now simply looks old, and it does not look like the Phenom can continue in the ring despite his hip surgery. Only the future will tell, and maybe it is best The Undertaker retire once and for all. Bray Wyatt is one of those wrestlers who has never looked like he has been thin. He came into the public eye as Husky Harris as part of the Nexus, the invading faction of former NXT talent. He would wrestle for a long time in this gimmick, but it became obvious that he was not going to be successful in this form. His weight and combined lack of charisma was working against him. Wyatt then took up a completely different gimmick as Bray Wyatt, an unhinged man with voices in his head and a mysterious sister Abigail. Together with Rowan and Harper, they formed a vicious faction as they ruled NXT before coming to the main roster. While not as successful in the main roster, the fans loved his gimmick and gave him a chance to win them over. Although he did win the fans over, the way WWE have booked him to lose innumerable matches has really hurt his character. He's not a wrestler who is ripped with six-pack abs, but he is flexible and has shown his acrobatic skills despite being considerably overweight. He's one of the first wrestlers to show the audience that there's no need to be sculpted like Chris the Masterpiece Masters to have a fierce persona and be successful in WWE, as he was more successful than him. The Anoa'i family had problems with their weight, but if any one of them can truly be said to have made their weight their gimmick, it was definitely Rikishi. A top wrestler during his 12 years with WWE, Rikishi is one of the most well-known faces during that period. He took a long time to come to actual prominence, but his run as one of the head shrinkers showed signs that there was more to come from the Samoan. He truly rose to fame in the public eye during a segment with The Rock and Stone Cold where he claimed to have driven over Stone Cold to do The Rock a favor.
I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. I did it. Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty.
What seemed like a silly story really helped his rise nonetheless. His dancing gimmick as part of Too Cool and his famous stink face would all help in building an image for the fans. One of the most over stars in his later years, Rikishi was an amazing wrestler and incredibly agile for his size. Unfortunately, his weight was seen by WWE as a possible future health issue, and following repeated requests to reduce his weight, Rikishi would be released. Thankfully, Rikishi is healthy to this day and continues to be able to watch his sons on television. One of the most intimidating looking men to ever enter a WWE ring, Bashira or Big Daddy V was one of the largest men as well. He main evented SummerSlam in '95. After having won the King of the Ring tournament that year, Bashira was best known for his work in WWE and his run as one of the minions of The Undertaker, though he would go on to face him later. He was immensely overweight even for a guy that was 6'9", while ultimately he never really was successful as a wrestler. It was the look that brought him into the business, with his massive bulk being his claim to fame. Not being fast or too capable of doing many moves in the ring, he was overexposed and the fans got tired of him very quickly. Sadly for him, it was his weight that would claim his life after he died in the shower of a heart attack at age 43. Dying early on in his life, he never lived up to the potential that he could have had. Members of the Anoa'i family have always had a big place in history. For Yokozuna, that was both figuratively and literally. The number of wrestlers who have been successful in WWE that the Anoa'i family has produced has proved to be massive. We've got The Rock, Roman Reigns, Usos, Nia Jax, Rikishi, Yokozuna, Rosie, Umaga, and all of them coming from the same family. Yokozuna had the gimmick of a sumo wrestler during his time in WWE, and he was billed at 600 pounds. He was successful during his short time with the company, as he would win the WWE title a number of times. He is most famously remembered for his win over Bret Hart, and Yokozuna was too overweight and towards the later part of his career was not all speedy in a ring. Managed by Mr. Fuji, he would use underhanded means to win the matches he took part in. While he accomplished a lot during his 4 years with the company, it was blatantly obvious that Yokozuna was going to face health problems due to his weight. He passed away at the age of 34 and at 589 pounds in the year 2000, just in case you wanted the numbers. Ever since he started his life in wrestling as the Giant for WCW, Big Show has been known for his enormous size. He was even billed as the son of Andre the Giant towards the beginning of his career, though that was later dropped. One of the major things about Show that has made him stand out from the rest of the crowd, aside from him being 7 feet tall, was his agility. At 7 foot 500 pounds, Show was a phenomenal athlete and could move faster than most men half his size. Not only being agile but acrobatic as well, actually doing moves from the top rope in the beginning of his career was something that Big Show was interested in. In one particularly famous moment, Big Show jumped over the top rope of the ring to pursue Macho Man Randy Savage, without stopping short. The sheer sight of such a physical specimen moving that fast was terrifying and exhilarating at the same time. Later in his career, Big Show would slow down as he gained weight and slowly but surely went out of shape. His movement in the ring slowed down, and while he was still terrifying, he was no longer a man that could move as fast as he did because he was too bulky. He looked like he was about to retire from wrestling after years of entertaining the fans, but it would be later on in his career, however, leading up to a rumored match against Shaquille O'Neal at WrestleMania possibly, that Big Show made some changes in his life. He started working out a lot more because he realized that the stress he was causing to his body given his weight, and in a photo that has since gone viral, he showed off his six-pack of abs. It's amazing that even at this age, Big Show still has the ability to wow his audience so much with the effort he has put into building himself from the ground up. Moving towards Mania, Big Show is recovering from surgery, and WWE fans may see their favorite big man in the ring one more time very soon. And these were 10 wrestlers who were or are out of shape. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and I will see you later with more wrestling videos.